So, the New York Giants have just been the first team to be eliminated for the second season in a row. Which is crazy because earlier this season, they looked pretty dangerous. So, the only thing I pretty much have to say is, what happened? And I'm going to show a deeper description on this entire season for the Giants with the 12 games they have played. And I just want to see what happened. If you guys like my content, feel free to subscribe. I'm getting very close to 60 subscribers, so I would love if you showed some support. But anyway, to the video. Now, at the start of the season, everyone knew they were going to be bad at this point. So, it was no shocker that they ended up losing to the Commanders. And in the end, this was the final score of Week 1. But it's okay, because this was expected. This is when everyone pretty much knew the Giants were not going to go that far. However, everyone knew they were going to lose that game, mainly because the Commanders were coming off of a NFC Championship run, and everyone knew that the Giants were pretty much bad. You head in to play against the Dallas Cowboys, who actually just went on a very disappointing loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Giants actually kept that game close. I mean, of course they lost, but still, they did decent that game. Also, I forgot to mention, the Giants had the hardest schedule this season. They ended up going against the Chiefs in Week 3, and of course they did lose. However, the Chiefs didn't really play well either, because, of course, that game they didn't play too well. However, they still won. And beforehand, they lost their first 2 games of the season, so who knew? However, Week 4 is when Jackson Dart came in. Yeah, they ended up winning to the Chargers. Unfortunately, though, they did end up losing Malik Neighbors for the season, but that was a sign that they would fall soon, but whatever. However, Week 5, they lost to the Saints. The Saints. The New Orleans fucking Saints. However, it looked like that loss was just a fluke, because Week 6, they went up against the Eagles, which they ended up making a big upset that game. They won that game. So it looks like after those weeks, it seemed like that the Giants would be a legit contender and would be really good this season. Well, maybe not make the playoff good, but at least improve from one of the worst teams to maybe a mid team. Week 7 happened. Yeah, I'm talking about the time they blowed a very big point lead in the fourth quarter against the Broncos. This would be one of the many times the Giants blow a lead this season. It's honestly kind of crazy that they blow leads, you know? Yeah, I know I had a background change now, but the lighting was pretty bad, and I actually had to get out of there. Week 8 was a pretty big turning point, though. Cam Skattebo. And yes, I'm talking about the ankle injury. This was... Man, I watched that injury live. It was bad. Like, majorly bad. I am a Packers fan, but set all that aside, that was a very brutal injury. So yeah, that game was against the Eagles, and the Giants, of course, lost that game. And now their record is now 2-6. And then it gets a little boring for a minute. They lose to the 49ers in Week 9. They end up losing to the Bears, and Jackson Dart ends up getting concussed. I don't know if it was this specific game. It probably was this specific game that he got concussed against the Bears, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, Jackson Dart was concussed for a bit, so he ended up having to miss some games. So Jackson Dart ended up missing the game against the Packers. And of course, the Giants did lose that game as well. So now we are here in Week 12. They go up against the Detroit Lions, who are also rivals with the Green Bay Packers. And let me explain how it went here. End of the fourth quarter, they are up by 3 points. And it looks like they can snatch a win and maybe make a comeback here. However, the Lions had other plans. They got the 3 points they needed, sending them into overtime. Then, after that, the Lions got a touchdown right after that. And then, the Giants had a very long drive to try and get into the end zone for the remaining overtime left. But they failed to do so, and this ended their season, unfortunately. What happened, though? This team looked insane to start. Now they're the first team eliminated for the second season in a row. It's just safe to say the Giants were just cursed with injuries. I don't think it's Jackson Dart's fault. They did fire their head coach, so maybe that's something. But I don't really see a good turning point for the Giants. Well, I guess since the Giants are eliminated now, guess it's time to eliminate them. So yeah, the Giants have been eliminated. Week 12. Man, this year has been falling by so fast. But hey, if you enjoy this video, mainly if you enjoy my content, subscribe if you want. Of course, I'm not going to force you to. Like the video if you want. I'm not going to force you to, of course. Yeah. This is Road Rash, signing off. See you later.